Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's second video. We do European outlook for today's second video. So as also on a Thursday, we'll have a detailed look at the weather for next week's 10 days across Europe, and I shall get over that for you in a moment. Just say that first. Bid early sales are 6 AM UK weather forecast, and I've got 10 to 14 down with all of the regular features coming up for you later on this afternoon as well. So please like, share and subscribe on all today's videos and content. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, we're going to start off then with the situation across Europe today. Very cold scene again across Europe. We've got high pressure in the Atlantic. We've got low pressure over Scandinavia and Nordic regions. And we're pulling in these very cold northerly winds across most parts of Europe. Excuse me. So looking at the upper air temperature, we're not cold everywhere. Actually, across southern and southeast Europe is relatively mild, so right away from Spain, Portugal, through the Med, over towards the Balkans, up towards the Black Sea, we have pretty warm upper air temperatures there with westerly and southwesterly winds. But further northwest, it's much colder, especially across northern Europe, so bitterly cold air still sitting in place across the Scandinavia, Nordic and Baltic Sea regions. This cold air has flooded down into western parts of Europe as well, so it's very cold across the UK, Ireland, down to France, and also, of course, through the low countries into Germany as well. Precipitation-wise, so you have got wet weather that's marking a boundary between the warmer air to the south and the colder air to the north. So heavy showers and long spells of rain coming into parts of Portugal, and also some showers through to Italy, wet weather around Greece as well, stretching up towards the Balkans, so that could include snow over mountainous regions, of course, and further wet weather pushing up towards the Ukraine. Now, when we get to north of that, of course, any precipitation is going to be snow, given how cold it is. So, heavy snow here through the Baltic, into the Baltic Sea, I should say, in towards Finland, and then going into western parts of Russia as well. More snow coming in towards Norway. Snow showers packing into Scotland again, as they have done for several days now, and wintry showers around the coast of the UK. Wet weather into France, a mix of rain and snow, with that again marking the boundary between the colder and milder air, and that snow stretching up towards Germany, southern parts of Poland as well. And it's a very cold scene, of course, with the temperature today, so bitterly cold air sits across northern Europe. Most parts of Europe are looking cold as well, but it is milder down across southern Europe, through the Med, into that southeastern corner, quite a bit milder through there. Tomorrow, we'll see high pressure gradually slipping southwards in towards France and low countries of Germany as a westerly flow begins to pick up across the north and West Europe. Bitterly cold air again remaining across Scandinavia and most Nordic regions. Most parts of Europe still looking very cold with the upper air temperatures, even into the UK and Ireland, despite the wind turning back to more of a westerly. The upper air temperatures will remain cold through tomorrow, with the mildest of the upper air temperature being squeezed again down into the far south and southeast of Europe. Heavy rain over Spain could turn to snow over the Pyrenees, and then there's likely to be more snow through Alpine regions, possibly rains and snow through the Balkans, and that pushing up towards parts of southern Ukraine as well. Otherwise, relatively dry through the central part of Med, so this wet weather could affect the Balearic Islands of Mallorca, Menorca and Ibiza, but most parts of the central and eastern portion of the Med looks mainly dry. But we've got more snow to come across Scandinavia and through those Nordic regions as well, with wet weather pushing from the Atlantic into towards western Scotland again, so that could turn to snow as it bumps into the cold air. Lots of dry weather through France, the low country of Germany and Poland, and that area of high pressure tomorrow. And again, the temperature remains very cold. Many parts of Europe sub-zero, all the way from France right way over towards Ukraine, and we get up in towards the Nordic regions and through Scandinavia, so through Norway, Sweden, Finland, down through the Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and it really is exceptionally cold there, with temperatures way down below freezing. And even into the UK and Ireland, despite a bit more of a westerly flow, it will still be cold. But that's the end of the cold spell for Western Europe. By Saturday, the high pressure begins to move over towards Germany, and we start to pick up this west to southwesterly wind, with milder air flooding in across the west of Europe during the weekend. Both northern parts of Europe still remaining very cold. Upper air temperatures show that the coast of the air beginning to retreat away to the east and the northeast as these milder upper air temperatures gradually start moving in from off the Atlantic. And that's going to bring some wet weather into the west of Europe as well. So either the UK side to pick up some rain. So that could be snow initially, but will turn back to rain as that milder air starts getting in from the Atlantic. Heavy snow in towards perhaps Denmark and southern parts of Norway. Otherwise relatively dry through Scandinavia and the Baltic area. Although there could be some snow here around Belarus, perhaps pushing up in some of those Baltic Sea states. But many areas looking dry, actually, on Saturday under that area of high pressure. More heavy showers, longer spells of rain, possibly with thunderstorms in towards Greece and Turkey. And the temperature on Saturday, again, it's looking very cold across most parts of Europe, bitterly cold still in the far north. We're just starting to see some milder air moving in towards the UK and Ireland. And that's the trend as we get through into Sunday with this deepening area of low pressure, perhaps bringing gale force winds or severe gales into the west of Europe. And you see how those southwesterlies are flooding in across the north and across the northern portions of Europe. So that will see the coldest of those upper air temperatures beginning to retreat away. There we go, beginning to retreat away in towards the far north, but Scandinavia and also over in towards Russia. Much milder upper air temperatures coming in across much of Western and indeed Central Europe on Sunday with those southwest winds. Heavy outbreaks of rain with those winds through Ireland and the UK, so really wet weather through there. And that will turn to snow as it pushes through Norway into Sweden and Finland. At least on the leading edge, we'll probably start turning back to rain, at least in the southern regions of Scandinavia anyway. Largely dry through much of the rest of Europe, just some showers down towards Greece. And temperature-wise, we see the coldest of the air retreating away gradually to the east, so quite a significant warm-up taking place through southern parts of Sweden, for example. Still cold, but not as cold as it has been. And out west, the UK, France and Ireland definitely picking up some milder air from Atlantic. Notice maybe southeast Europe turning colder, so that cold air is going to go somewhere, and some of that is slipping down into the Balkans, for example, so things will actually be turning colder there into the weekend. And then that takes us through into Monday, where we're in this westerly flow event, so a very different weather pattern, very different regime. Atlantic driven, high pressure down towards Spain, low pressure in the Atlantic. Upper air temperature looking relatively milder anyway across most parts of Europe. Those very cold upper air temperatures have retreated away. Outbreaks of rain pushing eastwards through Germany into Poland. Again, there comes some storm and leading edge with that, but will turn back to rain probably, at least in more southern portions. Could stay as snow through the Baltic Sea states though, and back up to Finland. And then a mix of rain and snow through Norway and into Sweden as well. Sunshine and showers for Ireland and the UK, leaving much of southern and also east and southeast of Europe mainly dry on Monday. Again, those cold temperatures retreat further and further away to the east as western and indeed some central parts of Europe start to have a milder look. Another deep area of low pressure sweeping in off the Atlantic into the west of Europe on Tuesday. Meanwhile, high pressure brings a lot of dry weather down towards Spain and Portugal. Looks quite pleasant down there. Quite warm with the upper air temperatures through Spain and Portugal. That could get temperature into the 20s Celsius, I would have thought. So if you've got a bit of winter sunshine, head down to Malaga or Costas and won't be too bad at all there. By Tuesday, quite dry, warm and sunny. Elsewhere, though, well, the upper air temperature is still quite cold across northern Eastern Europe, but nowhere near as cold as they have been, and looking much milder, of course, through the western portion of Europe. Wet and windy weather sweeping through the UK, Ireland, France, the Low Countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, and on into Germany as well. We've got rain and snow up across the far north of Europe and into these northeastern portions of Europe too. But many southern, southwestern parts of Europe looking mainly dry on Tuesday. So mild with the temperature on Tuesday. So a very mild day there through France into Ireland and the UK. Temperatures probably into teens Celsius. Warm down towards southern parts of Spain and Portugal, as I've first said. But further north and east, it is still quite cold. I mean, it's still midwinter, so although nowhere near as cold as it has been, temperatures will still be struggling to get much above freezing across the far north and eastern portions of Europe. Heading through into Wednesday, well, high pressure starting to reach northwards through the western side of Europe, and we have another trough sitting over Scandinavia. So that's going to start trying to pull some colder air back down in towards Norway, Sweden and Finland again as we go through into Wednesday with those upper air temperatures. But otherwise, relatively mild scene across much of Europe. But again, quite warm with the uppers down through the Mediterranean and into Spain as well. Heavy rain pushing into the eastern portion of Europe could turn to snow as it bumps into the colder air. We've got drier weather through western parts of Europe and southern Europe again, looking mainly dry through the middle part of the week. Temperatures actually becoming a bit colder again through Scandinavia and the Nordic region, starting to drop back down again at about trough of low pressure. But otherwise, it's relatively mild seeing, and again quite warm through the southern southwestern part of Europe. And then on into Thursday, well, low pressure deepening in the Atlantic, so another spell of wet wind weather could be heading in towards the UK and Ireland as that ridge of high pressure perhaps pushes more towards Germany and maybe towards Poland as well. Upper air temperatures look quite cold in the far north, but again, nowhere near as cold as they currently are. And out west, it's relatively mild, warm through southern parts of Europe. A lot of dry weather through the central, northern and western portions of Europe with that area of high pressure, though there will be rain and snow in the far east. And also, we've got some more wet weather piling in from the Atlantic in towards UK and Ireland again. Temperatures mild in the west, warm across the southern and southwestern parts of Europe, but cold across the far north and northeast of Europe. And then we go on up towards day 10, so this is next Friday. So high pressure gradually starts taking over really across most parts of Europe. A large ridge beginning to inflate there, bringing no doubt a lot of dry weather through to the last weekend of January. Mild at the western side of Europe with the southerly winds, but sort of a centre of high pressure for the central and eastern parts of Europe could actually be quite cold with a risk of frost and fog. And beyond that, we've got to see where that high pressure goes. If it starts moving northwards, it could develop into a Scandinavian high, but that's rather speculative at this stage. Okay, so that's how it's looking for the weather across Europe this week. If you've enjoyed the forecast and found it useful and informative, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much to everybody for doing that. And we'll be back a little bit later on with our 10 to 14 day, which will include all of the regular features. So come back for that later. For this week's European Outlook, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.